Oh, there we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 10 of Cougar Dash. I'm Cody Schoeler here with my co host Ryan Root, as always, a little late with some technical difficulties, but we're here now. And Ryan, it's spooky season, Halloween on Friday, but nothing might be scarier than the Cougar scrimmage on Saturday. And a question I want to pose to you: do you believe in curses? Because it seems like curses definitely believe in you with what you did to Cameron Cooper over the weekend.
I mean, I hear you, Cody. I was not pleased to see that stat line from Cameron whatsoever. You know, it's scrimmages like these where you can say, "Oh, this was a great effort by the defense or a poor effort by the offense." And
Mhm.
I think there's a little bit of both here, but we definitely should talk about Cameron first. I mean, 2 for 7 for what, 2 interceptions, no scores.
Mhm. Yep.
It's a little sad to see that stat line from such a veteran on this team. As far, I mean, it hasn't started in a game, of course, but just such a bench presence on this team to learn from such great quarterbacks. It's not great to see that stat line. I mean, even one of those completions he had was in pretty tight coverage from the practice footage I saw. So he could have had 3 for all we know. I mean, one
Mhm.
of those going to the house too. That's never a
Yeah,
great
it's not
sign.
good. Not good.
But 2 for 7 for 2 picks seems like a quick bench for Rolo to put Cameron on, but not a great stat line, I'll admit it. I don't know if there is something in the air. I'd like to believe that there isn't, but
Mhm.
not that great. We can talk about your boy though. Why don't you talk about Jaden a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like Jaden Delora set the world on fire either. It was just a bad day for the offense all around, or a good day for the defense if you want to be an optimist. But I'm choosing to be a bit of a realist and realize that the offense definitely had a hand in this. But, he goes 10 for 13 with 46 yards. So not a lot of yards. That doesn't look good. But, he's the one that completed most of his passes. He's the one that the coaches kind of talked to and said looked the best, although didn't look great. So, I mean, just please don't like endorse him or say anything good about him because right now you're 2 for 2 at absolutely just tanking these guys' chances. So if you can just talk good about like some guys like I don't know Tristan Gebbia, like Anthony Brown, Jacob Sermon, like if you could just go through the Cougars opponents and just say how good all their quarterbacks are,
Oh
that would
yeah.
be much appreciated because I guess you just have this like curse put on you. So keep that to yourself and please don't put it on Jaden Delora because right now he looks the best. He played good in the first scrimmage. He played the best in the second scrimmage. I don't know if this second scrimmage was enough to like declare anything because it was just bad all around. But I think if they were playing, now, I think he would be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how much I can really say, Cody. You seem to kind of restrict my words here, but as far as I'm concerned, he seems to have 2 good performances back to back,
Hmm.
and Cameron is definitely took a dip this weekend. And as far as Gunnar Cruz goes, I maybe I can talk about Gunnar here, but Gunnar's the freshmanitis, if you want to call it, definitely came out only going 5 for 15. Had that one
Hmm.
rushing touchdown, which is nice, of course,
Yeah.
but you know. Jaden was the only one with double digit completions, had the least amount of incompletions,
Hmm.
and adding on 6 rushing yards also led the quarterbacks, even though it was only 6. But point being is Jaden definitely showed out again. We're gonna have to see where it goes from here.
Hmm.
I want to go to the defensive side of the ball because
Yeah.
we definitely saw Shaw Smith make an impact with him getting a pick, and he almost took his to the house too. And Watson got a pick as well, his going for a pick 6. But those with 2 forced fumbles, I mean, of course you can kind of dink the defense for the or the offense for that, but forcing turnovers, something that the WC didn't see a whole lot of last year. I mean,
Hmm.
the fact that we're doing this with true freshmen and Shaw Smith, and it's definitely a bright spot for this team as far as the defense goes. If we can take a hit on scoring 50, 60 points a game and having a good defense to make up for that, then the defense is definitely making good progress, though.
Yeah, and that was something that we knew was going to have to happen because we knew this team wasn't going to score 50 points, so the defense was going to have to take a step forward. Freshmanitis, like you mentioned with Gunnar Cruz, clearly was not impacting the defense because Shaw Smith Wade and Jalen Watson, both of those guys, grabbed a pick. So we definitely saw some good stuff from the defense. Now, was that bad offense? Was that good defense? We can't be certain, but the defense has had their moments in practice too. So I definitely think that shows that there's some potential on this defense. I don't think this defense is going to get gashed for 50 points, from an Oregon State, maybe from an Oregon or a USC, a really good team. They might be outmatched, but I think this is a defense that can hold their own against some of the teams that are on little bit even playing ground. So with anything, you've got to look at this and be realistic and believe that the offense wasn't doing too good, but it wasn't all bad. There are still some bright spots to look at, and those two freshman defensive backs are definitely the brightest spots so far.
Yeah, the defense is what's going to make this season, in the post-Leach era, having 50-point shootouts with Oregon State last year and having the dreaded UCLA game was definitely not something that we want to have a repeat of this year. But the fact that our secondary is making leaps and bounds is definitely something that I don't think we really could have said last year. We got to the quarterback at least a little bit last year, but even this year we have some veteran presence on the team and have some up-and-coming edge rushers. So that's going to make this season. And if we have a good scrimmage to go off of for the defensive side, like I said, you can kind of see this as a negative for the offense to some degree. But as far as the defense goes, I mean, they probably slept like a baby that night. And offense, they probably were up until 4 a.m. watching film. So
Yeah.
I'm concerned with some of the throws that Cameron made for sure. I know one of his picks was just straight interception, went right on a flat route, right onto the right side of the field. That's not a throw you can make at really any level. I want to say maybe middle school. I'll let you get away with that, but you cannot give up some of those picks that go straight to the end zone. Stuff like that's concerning. But Jaden, I'll keep it as general as I can, so I don't cause anything here. But
yes, please, because we're running out of options. We can't keep having you do this.
Yeah. Oh, I'll say. How about Keaton Slovis for Heisman? How about that? Maybe. Maybe
there we go.
There you go. Okay. Now Jaden, he's playing real well for a true freshman. We're gonna have to see where it goes. Things are, working out as they're going on right now, and I hope it can go up from here. But maybe that's passing the boundary a little too much, Cody. Why don't you take it away from me?
Yeah, I mean, something that we were wondering about just at the start of this season was how much Jayden de Laura's just familiarity with this run and shoot type of offense was going to come into play. He ran a similar system in high school, obviously not the same, but he's maybe the most familiar with it. So, we didn't know what that was going to look like. And with this weird off season, I think that might be the thing that's really just setting him apart. So we're going to have to, continue to watch that. We've got, a little under 2 weeks, one more Saturday without Cougar football. So that's a positive in a world when right now there aren't too many. And so we're going to stay just a tiny bit negative and talk about, another maybe scary thing is whose ghost do you think is going to haunt the Cougars this year? Now, I don't mean literally, not like, these guys are literally ghosts. They're in the afterlife haunting us from beyond the grave. But, whose departure is going to end up coming back to hurt this team?
Well, we lost a considerable amount of players, coaches, however it may seem. Pullman definitely took a hit in terms of the football department. We also got some great gains as well. But I'm gonna take away Anthony Gordon here because I think we'll find our right quarterback for our system, and I think we'll be okay there. I mean, I'm gonna take out Tay Martin as well because even if a good player leaves a program, like Justin Herbert leaves Oregon, things like that, they're only going to be there for 4 to 5 years anyways. You're going to have to get a new guy in 4 to 5 years. When you lose a coach, I think that's when it's really going to impact a squad. That's why my pick is Mike Leach. And although it may not be for the same reason that most people will think. I mean, non-Cougar fans will think, oh, Mike Leach is gone. WSU is going to tank. They're going to go 0 for 6, 0 for 7. They're not going to win an Apple Cup for 20 years now. Like, you could say all these things about Mike Leach leaving, but it's really going to come down to that's going to be the only title that's associated with Wazoo football this season. every game that we're going to prepare for, it's going to be, oh, here's the W2 Cougars who parted ways with Mike Leach, and they're going to go up against the Oregon State Beavers. It's never going to be, here's the Cougs that are coached by Rolovich. For the most part, it's going to be, here's the Cougs. They don't have Mike Leach to save them anymore. And I I think that's wrong. We made a tremendous hire with Rolovich. We have a tremendous new defensive coaching staff, and we have an exciting new offense that doesn't part ways too much from our old one. So Mike Leach's ghost is going to haunt the Palouse for a little bit, but Rolo's going to take us to great and brand new places that I think people aren't really ready for in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I think Rolovich is coming in here like one of the Ghostbusters with the freaking backpack, and he's gonna, you know, take Leach's ghost out of here because, I think fans were a little ready to move on. I know we've talked about this before, and I think Rolo has a type of personality because that's the big thing. I think Leach's personality was so huge here, but I think Rolo has the personality to make up for that, and then production on the field, that's gonna be the deciding factor. But I think one of the reasons that Leach's ghost won't be haunting us that much is because he isn't looking great right now. If he was killing it in the SEC, like after week one when he beat LSU, then I think people were going to be like, did we really like this guy? We could have had this guy for longer. Like, look what he's doing down there. But they've kind of figured him out. He's not looking so great. Obviously, it's his first year there. I have no doubts that he's going to turn that program into something better than it is. But, he's not really setting the SEC on fire right now. That makes me so disappointed that he's gone. So my pick is Tay Martin. And I know you mentioned, yes, a player's only here for a certain amount of time, but I think what he could have done for this offense this year is going to be huge. And I think it comes down to replacement. Rolovich is a pretty good replacement for Mike Leach, but we don't really have a replacement for Tay Martin. He would have been the go-to outside receiver. He's 6'3". We don't have that type of size right now. Right now, if you're looking at kind of the options that this team has, they don't have that big go-to guy, which, yes, Rolovich's system likes to use kind of small, fast guys, but Tay Martin was also fast. Like he could have thrived in this system. He's not doing too great at Oklahoma State right now, but that was a decision made for many reasons other than football, and he kind of got there late, so I'm not holding that against him. But I just think, I think there's going to be times where we go, man, I wish we had the 6'3" guy that could just burn down the sideline and do some of the things that we've seen him do. I mean, he had, Sports Center top 10 worthy catches, mossing guys down the sideline. We don't have that guy right now. So unless somebody, comes from nowhere and is able to be that guy, I think Jameer Calvin's going to be great on the outside, but he doesn't have the same type of body. He's not that same type of receiver. So I think that's a guy that we're going to wish we had because we don't really have a replacement. We don't have a Tay Martin light on this team.
Well, I'll ask you. I really thought about this. What's going to be the event that'll happen that'll push Leach's ghost away for the rest of Cougar history? I honestly think, and I've brought it up before, and I'll bring it up again.
I think I know where you're going.
An Apple Cup win is going to get rid of Leach's ghost in the Palouse.
Yeah, that's the third act of Ghostbusters right there. That ghost is gone forever when he's able to do that.
So what do you think? What do you think needs to happen for this Cougar team to kind of forget and of course, reminisce in the times that we have with Tay Martin? But what's going to happen for what has to happen for this team to part ways with Tay Martin's legacy?
I mean, first off, the offense has to not look like it did, on
Agreed.
Saturday.
Yes.
Like, I mean, if the offense looks bad, they're going to look at every single player who's ever stepped foot on this campus in the last 4 years and say, I wish we had this guy. But, I think if the receivers show what they're able to do, I think obviously it helps if we have a guy with a similar build step up and kind of take over that position. Roderick Fisher was kind of going to be that guy, but, he's also left the program. So, if Jameer Calvin and Calvin Jackson Jr., the presumed kind of outside guys, if they just are killing it out there and Rolovich's system shows that he can use, 5'10" guys and just, have a great offense. And I think, we'll wish we had Tay Martin, but I don't think we'll necessarily be, wishing that, he was back. But, I mean, we're going to see because, I think Jaden Delora or, if it does end up being Cameron Cooper, I think they would love to throw to a guy like Tay Martin. I think that's just a good target to have. But if this offense is functioning without him, then I think we'll be good. And maybe somebody else, uh, their ghost will be messing with us. Like Anthony Gordon, you mentioned. Obviously, I agree that he's not gonna be the biggest one. Skylar Thomas on the defense, that could be huge. Um, and yeah, some guys we lost, at the corner position, but that's my big one for now. But yeah, what do you think? Like, I know you mentioned the Apple Cup, but is there any other way for Nick Rolovich to like what's the blueprint, regardless of just that one game, for him to kind of kick Leach's ghost to the curb?
Well, I'll part ways with the defensive side of the ball, leave that to the coordinators. But as far as Rolo's new offense, the air raid used a lot of, receivers downfield were passing the ball 50, 60 times. A lot of passing, a lot of passing. The run and shoot is pretty similar. However, I brought up Cole McDonald in a previous show before. He was kind of a dual threat of his own. He was a big physical guy, got
Mhm,
7 rushing touchdowns. Rolo, I think when he incorporates a quarterback that matches that personality well and that play style well, I think that's quickly going to diminish the ghost of Mike Leach and even Tate Martin. To be honest, I will bring up Delora again. Delora is other than I know Gunnar Cruz had the 1 yard rushing touchdown this last
mhm,
scrimmage, but Delora has definitely proven himself to be a consistent thrower in these scrimmages. Not many incompletions, no picks.
mhm.
But running the ball is something that I think WSU is going to transition into with this quarterback position. I think Jaden Delore is going to be that playmaking type. He's going to be, it might be from the game that I watched last night, but he's got a little Kyler Murray to him. He's got a little Russell Wilson to him a little bit.
Mhm,
He's looking downfield the majority of the time, which is great for the quarterback position. You're not always looking to run, like an RG3 or something like that. You're at least looking downfield for the most part. And when he is using his feet to make plays, he's doing a great job doing so. He had a rushing touchdown the last scrimmage. So
mhm.
if we transition into a quarterback that's going to be more dynamic in using not only his throwing ability but his rushing ability, that's quickly going to diminish Leach's ghost from the Pullman area.
Yeah, I agree. I think, what Rolovich is able to do, and the legacy he's able to create is, directly tied to the quarterback play and what we get out of that position. So that's why I think, Anthony Gordon isn't going to be as big of a deal because, frankly, I don't know. He's not really a fit for this system. He's a perfect fit for the air raid, but, in this run and shoot, I don't know. I think the three guys we have now are the three guys that we want. And Delora has definitely showed the ability to use his legs and just to be that playmaker. I know they've thrown out casually, some speed options and some kind of designed QB runs or some option plays that they're able to do. So I think that's going to be a new wrinkle that they can only use with those three guys, whoever it ends up being, probably Delora. But so I agree with that. And so I mean, I think if the season goes as planned, then I think both of those ghosts are not a big deal because, Rolovich has secured this position and he's secured the hearts of Cougar fans. And, the offense is chugging along fine and we don't need a Martin, even though, we wish we could have him. And so that's going to transition us into our final topic, which is a lot more of a fun one, which we need after just talking about the last two things. And so, like I mentioned, we've got Halloween this week. Hopefully, you're not doing a lot of trick or treating. I don't know if you have any plans to. I know I'm going to refrain from that. But one thing we can do is what I've made up my own trick or treating, which is trick or treating for Cougar candy, where we're just going to have fun and we're going to compare WSU players to candy because I love candy. I love WSU football. So I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to refer to my list here that I have, so I remember some of these. I'm proud of some of these comparisons I have here. So we'll start with the one and only Max Borghi.
Yeah. Give me
Okay,
your Max Borghi.
I got Max Borghi as a Milky Way because his
Okay.
potential is out of this world.
Oh, I like
There you
that.
go.
I went so I actually wrote about this for a column, if you want to call it that, for Sports Pac-12. So you can go ahead and read that. Most of the guy, I think I'll have a few on there maybe that we didn't hit on. But so for Max Borghi, I compared him to a Reese's peanut butter cup. for just the simple fact that a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is the GOAT Halloween candy, and Max Borghi is the best player on this WSU team. So that's where I drew that comparison of just, if everybody's a candy, then I mean, he's my favorite. He's the one that I want to see in my Halloween bag.
Well, I'll throw you a so you have Borgie as a Reese's, and I did
Mhm.
include Reese's in here.
Okay.
I have Cam and Cooper as my
Okay.
Reese's,
Okay.
meaning
Let me see. Yeah.
meaning
Give
it's
me that.
yeah. So it's good when you have it. Reese's are great. But
Hmm.
you only get two every wrapping, right? You don't get
That's
as
true.
you don't get as much of that greatness. You know,
Hmm.
I don't mean to slam down Cam and Cooper right now, but
Okay.
when you have it, it's great, but you don't get that much of it that we've seen from these past two scrimmages.
Hmm.
Hopefully he can turn into a king size Reese's or something. But
Hopefully. But I mean, I mean, with the peanut butter, I would argue that I think the Reese's are. I think it's enough. I want more, but I think sometimes if there was, I mean, if there's 18 in a pack, I would eat them all. So, maybe that's a good thing. And so I kind of went similar with Cam and Cooper. I compared him to Starburst. The little 2 pack of Starburst that you get, just in the fact of that you don't know what you're gonna get when you open it. Um, you could get something great or you could get yellow. I think the week before we've got like
I know
some.
you're not slamming yellow Starburst. That's one of the best ones.
I mean, one of the best, like one of the top four, maybe, but it's not top three. Um, that's just like, like this society is just hating yellow. I don't mind yellow, but it's definitely when I get a yellow, I'm a little disappointed. Last week in the scrimmage, we got like a nice like double red or red pink combination from Cam and Cooper, but I think we got double yellow on Saturday, so I went with that of just like because and that I wrote this before the scrimmage, and so now it's even more. But I was like, I mean, we don't know what we've got in him. He could be great. He looked great at the time, but he could also be bad. I think that's that just unfamiliarity of these guys at the quarterback position. And so, I know you've brought up Jaden DeLora saying you've got one for him. So I want to know what you've got there saying at the quarterback position.
So I got Jaden DeLora as a Twix bar
Mm,
because Twix, what was that whole ad campaign they had? It's the right Twix, the left
yep.
Twix, even though they're the exact same. Well,
Hmm.
you got Dolores passing and you got his rushing ability.
Oh, I
Both are
like
great.
that. I like that. That's a good one. I went with kind of the same thing for Cam and Cooper on that one. This one I didn't write about. I originally had like him and some other like true freshmen as like the Sour Patch Kids, just because like kids and they're the young guys. But I said Dolores a mystery airhead, the white mystery flavor, kind of going with the same thing of
You
like,
went
and
real
he
specific with yours. Okay.
yeah, we don't know what he's gonna be. So that's where I went with that. Just jotting that down before the show, just because we have no idea. We've seen from the scrimmages, obviously, but this is his first year in college, so we know a little bit with Cam and Cooper, just the fact that he's still here, that he can hang. I think Delora can, but he's a real mystery. And I also did Twix. I used the left Twix, right Twix kind of thing, and I did a 2-for-1 here. I did Abe Lucas and Liam Ryan as left and right Twix because, like I said, I don't know what the difference between left and right Twix. I'm starting to think that there is no difference, but what I know is that you can't switch them. Their left Twix is good on the left, right Twix is good on the right, just like these two guys. I think you could switch them, but they've both talked about like not wanting to switch. Like it's like trying to write with your opposite hand. Liam Ryan's good on the left side. Abe Lucas is good on the right side. So keep them there and just let them do their thing.
Yeah, so I actually have a different candy bars
Hmm.
for Abe Lucas
Okay.
and for Liam Ryan. So for
Hmm.
Abe Lucas, I got Baby Ruth because although it's a
Oh.
sleeper, I think it's still pretty great. Many people don't really know Abe Lucas's name. I don't think a lot of the attention goes to
Mhm.
Liam Ryan, and
Yeah.
also you can't go wrong with the name Baby Ruth. It's almost like a
Hmm.
baby goat. He's got a great work ethic,
So are you
and
saying that you like baby Ruths?
I think they're I think they're kind of slept on, honestly. I think
Yeah.
they don't get enough appreciation. Like Abe
Okay.
Lucas, for
Hmm.
Liam Ryan, I gave him a Snickers bar because
Mm. Yep.
he's one
I
of the
can
most
see that.
well-known players on the team, one of the most well-known candy bars, in the
Hmm.
candy industry. Uh, and he's definitely. This is kind of cheesy. It kind of goes to the name, but he's definitely one of the funniest guys on the team. I noticed he's got a
Mhm.
great personality.
Oh yeah,
Uh, so yeah, those were my for the linemen. Do you have one for Snickers or Babe Ruth or
yeah.
Babe Ruth?
I not for Baby Ruth because I stuck to some good candies, but for Snickers I do, and I want to say I if I saw Liam Ryan in a like Snickers commercial, I would buy it. Like I think he would fit right at home there. But for Snickers, I kind of went with the same thing. I said Will Rogers is a Snickers bar. Because the thing about a Snickers bar is like it's the least like I mean it's a candy bar, but it's got peanuts in it, so like it's kind of healthy, you know. Like I feel like you know if you told your dentist that you ate a Snickers for lunch, he would be like, all right, I'm not as mad as some of these other things. You know, so I think Will Rogers just that presence up front on the defensive line. You know, he's like a Snickers up there. You know, the kind of the big guy, like you know, on that defensive line. So that's where I went with that.
Nice. I definitely want to get this one out there before we
Hmm.
finish up the show because I'm real proud of this one.
Okay.
One of my favorite candy bars are Take Fives.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So Blake Mazza I have as a Take Five because
Hmm.
Take Fives are relatively small. They come
They
in little
are.
packages. When you're in a pinch and you need
Hmm.
something great, you got Blake Mazza to come and save the day.
Hmm.
That's my
Yeah.
reasoning for
I
that. So
I
Blake
went
Mazza's a
really
Take Five.
I went similar with that. I gave him the Hershey's just because like the Hershey's bar, it's not flashy, it's not in your face, you know, it's not the star of the show. You know, you see it in your Halloween, you know, tr pillowcase that you're carrying around and you're like, "All right, you know, that's fine." But you know what it is. But you know what it is with Blake Mazza. You know who he is. He goes out there, he makes the field goals. He's missed like 3 kicks last year and he kicked like 80, 70 times, you know. So I think he's just a classic, you know. You know what he is, you know what he's got. So you know, similarly on that, you know, just a consistent guy out there.
Yeah, so you said something with Hershey's, so I
I
actually put
did.
that with Jihad Woods
Mm,
because I kind of see it as the whole foundation of all candy bars, right? Hershey's just
yeah.
straight chocolate. You can't go wrong
Hmm.
with it. It's
Nope.
it's what do I have written down here? I want to make sure I have this right because I was proud of some of these. So it's dependable, it's
Hmm.
dynamic, and it runs the whole show.
Yep.
You can't have a chocolate bar without chocolate, right?
Nope.
So
That's a great one. My last one, I've also got Jihad Woods. I put him as a crunch bar just because the man is, you hear crunch all over the field. He's just, you
I
know,
had that
knocking.
same one for Will Rogers. I had that same
Yep.
one.
He's just out there. He's 140 something tackles. Just, you know, you hear that crunch sound all the time when he's out there. So unfortunately, that's all the time we've got. I'd love to make 80 comparisons to every single player on this team. So go read that article or that column if you're interested. And just remember, you can find our written content exclusively at sportspac12.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at sportspac12. You can also find links to that written content on our website, dashboards.tv, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at dashboards.tv. Lastly, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find all of our shows and clips. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with week 1 of Pac 12 football.